What is up, YouTube? We're back again for another video by Crumb called Stealing Music. Almost got him killed. This seems like it's going to be a good one, so let's go ahead and dive into this bitch.
On a chilly evening, 19-year-old Noah Urban is listening to his favorite artist, Playboi Carti, in a rented area.
Playboy, I'm tired of Playboy. He's not even that good. Like, bro, give me tight.
Airbnb. Suddenly, there's a
Listen to
knock at the
Playboi
door.
Carti and
He stops
shit.
the track and, with a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach, goes to see who it is. Not too long ago, one of Noah's holders, that's the person who does the riskiest part in a SIM swap hack, had been kidnapped, beaten, and held ransom for
What?
$200,000, just hours away from...
Hold on a second. A holder is the person with the phone the victim's number is swapped to.
Hack. Too long ago, one of Noah's holders, that's the person who does the riskiest part in a SIM swap hack, had been kidnapped, beaten, and held ransom for $200,000, just hours away from where Noah was
Jesus
staying
Christ.
now. I can't show you the video here, but you can listen to it.
Yo, damn, please, bro, send the 200K. And they're gonna
Alright.
kill me if you don't.
With two
What?
pistols to his head and a bloody
Jesus
face,
Christ.
he goes on to say,
Like, I'll pay you back. Apply to any store you need me to apply to, so I could be a plug. Like, I don't care if I get caught by the cops or anything. Like, I will get that money back for you, like, dead ass.
Noah wondered if he
Holy
was about to
fuck.
suffer the same fate. Rival hacking groups had
Like, Jesus Christ. Hacking groups are crazy, bro.
already sent someone to throw a brick through the window of his parents' upscale home in
What?
Sanford, Florida. Now he feared they were back, planning to torture him until he gave up the millions of dollars in stolen crypto they surely thought he had. He had been so public about it, streamed himself losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on crypto gambling websites in single sessions.
And it's also illegal money, right? He can't make it fiat. So what else is he supposed to do other than flex his money on his stream with his e-girl while gambling on stake?
That's someone I talked to who has personal involvement with the music com. See,
Peons. Bunch of peons.
there was another reality playing out in Noah's head. If it wasn't someone from the SIM swapping scene coming to hurt him, it would be the FBI. They had already raided his house in March of 2023. This had led him to encrypt his hard drives, including a purported $200,000 collection of unreleased music stolen from the world's most
Whoa.
popular rappers. Music he had been posting snippets of all over socials, with captions like, "The song loses its quality if other people can hear it." He had spent the last 11 months hopping between Airbnbs to avoid them catching up again. As he went to open the door, he wasn't sure what would be worse. This is the story of King Bob and Musiccom. To understand it, I had to talk to the
King Bob and Musicom. Okay.
people who were around Noah before anyone even knew his real name.
I feel like the issue with most of the people that end up like King Bob,
Before anyone
Chapter
even
one,
knew his
creating a
real name.
hacker.
I feel like
Yeah, chapter 1, creating a hacker. Oh yeah, it's split. Okay.
the issue with most of the people that end up like King Bob is that they get started with something where you don't need OPSEC at all. And they don't think they need to use a VPN or anything like that. And they'll be telling people their names. And then eventually it just like they do end up in that position and they're already from what they were doing before.
For
Damn.
Noah, that thing was playing Minecraft Hardcore Factions in 2019. If you've watched any of my other videos, you understand the Minecraft to Hacker pipeline starts with this game mode.
His entire faction that he played with was full of people that were like simming, swatting people. That's probably how he got into simming, to be honest, is through like that faction, because they were all on that shit.
It's always been incredibly toxic. Kids doxing, pizza bombing, swatting, and hacking each other. And Noah was in one of the most infamous factions for committing this sort of stuff.
I feel like it's so easy playing Minecraft to get sucked into that shit. Not gonna lie, like some of my friends would do like small shit, like they would call for like a bit and get a few fans or whatever, and then just you see everybody around you doing it and you feel like it's like cool or whatever, especially being younger, 14, 15, 16, back then playing that, you're pretty like impressionable.
That's Noah's old video editor. He was uploading kill
Oh.
compilations from Hardcore Factions on his YouTube channel.
Because I was like the only really like editor in the community, so he hit me up to edit his faction videos. This was 4 years ago. He paid me like $30 a video. He was just very impatient. I would be like, oh, like it's late, like I'll send it to you tomorrow, and he's like, can you send it right now? Like just stay up longer, like can you do it, blah blah blah. And he like messaged me a bunch.
Reading these DMs is so funny to me. Even here, Noah is pressing the editor to let him remote into his computer. But another thing stuck out to him beyond just being pushy, his username.
just having an OG name like Sosa, or just like having an OG name in the Minecraft community, people just associate you with fraud because like 90% of people that have OG names just simmed for the money to buy them or whatever.
So if you haven't seen
Oh.
my other videos, there's underground markets for rare usernames on Instagram, Minecraft, Snapchat, whatever.
Oh yeah, so because people still that shit, you can't buy it. Jesus
Noah
Christ.
had Sosa, Chief Keef's nickname on Minecraft, and he presumably bought it probably somewhere as like OG users, which is another notorious breeding ground for sim swappers. They were originally using it as a technique to take over accounts with these rare usernames to begin with, but later found out that it was much more profitable to take over crypto accounts.
But most of the stuff that I know related to him just kind of would go back to his group, the faction Voltage, which just again was involved in like a lot of stuff related to fraud and stuff. But I never saw like him specifically. I mean, he would have like a big ego in the sense of Minecraft, like calling people randoms and just because he was in a good faction, like stuff like that. But I didn't firsthand like experience stuff.
The folks I'm talking to here weren't part of Noah's faction. They were always fighting against him. I tried speaking to some people from his faction and nobody would open up. In fact, over the last 4
course not.
years, 3 of their members have
Why would they open up? Like they're a part of the faction. They're like ride or dies for him. Make it make sense.
gone to jail for hacking crimes. And so there's this question of how did Noah transition out of Minecraft into a hacking group known as Scattered Spider?
Scattered Spider chapter.
Everybody
2.
in the community generally did stuff like that, but they were like the main faction that was like associated with a bunch of stuff like that. That is definitely like where the main source of where he like got introduced to all that.
During his Minecraft days, there was no indication that Noah had a crap ton of money. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that was about to change because he becomes associated with this collection of hackers that's going after all these major corporations. They're using these pre-made phishing page builders for sale on shady Telegram channels to create fake Okta authentication pages. Okta is used by a slew of big companies to secure access to their internal systems. When an employee logged into this fake phishing page, it would send their credentials and two-factor authentication code off to a private Telegram channel in real time for the hackers to abuse. They began by registering domains of 169 companies. You can see some of the companies here that they were targeting: AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and these domains are carefully constructed to look like something the company might legitimately be using. That's because they didn't want the employees to sniff even a single whiff of something funny. That's because they were sending these domains via text message to employees that they likely found on somewheres like LinkedIn, incentivizing a click under the guise that their work schedule had changed. The goal with all this was just to get access to the company's internal tools. They're targeting people that work in like customer support. For example, here's a picture of T-Mobile's employee panel that lets them conduct a SIM swap. You know, a customer walks into the store and says, "Hey, I bought this new phone. I want to transfer my number to it." This is the back-end panel that lets them do that. But why is this important? Why would they care about this sort of thing? Well, the group was after something else. Security researchers found that they had breached more than 130 organizations using this attack, including LastPass, DoorDash, MailChimp, Plex. This earned them the name Scattered Spider. But there was a theme with these attacks. For example, in August 2022, Scattered Spider, using their access to MailChimp, stole data but only from 214 customers. All those people were involved with cryptocurrency and finance. They could have got their hands on so many more people. Why just crypto guys? That same month,
Oh fuck. These guys are crazy.
Klaviyo posted this
God.
blog announcing that they've also been hacked. And again, they only downloaded data from 38 customers, including emails and phone numbers, all people related to crypto. You see where this is going? This is where having back-end access to those telecom companies was useful. They'd go try to log into those email accounts, hit forgot password, and by conducting a SIM swap, they could get that reset code sent to their own phone because it allowed them to take over complete control of the victim's phone number. Then they could start
Okay.
searching through that email account for anything related to crypto. Oh, they find the victim's got a Coinbase account. They go to Coinbase, they forgot password. It sends a link to the victim's email, which they now control. They're in, they drain $1 million. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And of course, this stuff is all linked together. Like Group IV investigated this slew of attacks by Scattered Spider, and they find that the phishing page that's being sent to all of these companies is connected to this kid on Telegram who had previously been posting about Velt PvP, a popular hardcore factions server. Actually, this kid is a very well-known Minecraft plugin developer from the hardcore faction community, one under the handle Jolioli. There's this clip of him rapping.
Fuck you, bomb. You're a dog shit skid, fat ass You probably got big tits. Shout out to Left Boob. He's really funny on Twitter. Hey, I'm a fat so I take a shit. I'm up on MMC and I be rocking the. I'm a black. I be squeezing triggers. Boy.
If I was a betting man, he
Oh,
was the
God.
technical brains behind this operation. Not only because it was his Telegram account connected to the phishing panel, but because of the development services he had been posting online. He was also friends with Noah. What they didn't realize at this time was the mistake they had made. They had sent the source code to the phishing panel around their friend group, probably so they could spin up their own web servers and host it themselves, whatever. But it seems one of the members didn't trust the other, and so they scanned the folder on VirusTotal to make sure that there wasn't like a rat or some other malware bound to it. The problem is VirusTotal saves and shares everything with threat researchers. So Unit 1B was able to get their hands on that file. It gave them back-end access to the phishing page, which contained Jolioli's private Telegram API key used to fire off those channel messages when victims entered their account details. And while, as you can tell, Jolioli wasn't a particularly private person. But blunders in cybercrime can take a while to catch up. Now, it's during this time that two things happen. Number one, Noah starts going under a new handle, Elijah, and he starts streaming himself gambling. He's getting viewers to suggest which game he plays. He's sending them tips when he wins on them, all the while his e-girls are chatting it up in the background on a Discord call.
But hold on. This guy in chat said, run it up on BJ, then get those e-girls to give you a BJ.
What?
By the end of this stream, he had lost over $300,000. Seemingly out of nowhere, Noah had come into a shit ton of crypto. Now, there's a few things in this stream that I want to point out to you. Number one, you can see his old Minecraft videos set to private here. Number two, very briefly, we can see he has a website called Black Proxies bookmarked. There's so many articles written about this website in specific being used by hackers. Most people that commit these sort of attacks will rent a virtual private server that they do all of their bad stuff from. But when connecting to that server, they string together residential proxies and VPN services to mask their home connections so that their illegal activities can't be as easily traced back to them. I don't know if that's what he was
Jesus.
doing here, but he has a
What people really be going through the 9 just to get past everything, just to do illegal shit like this. Like, that's crazy.
bookmark. Then number 3 in his Spotify. See those playlists? Yeah, he's got one saved of unreleased music from XXX Tentacion. This stream happened on November 2nd, 2021, just months before he would join what is known as the Music Com, and this is the place that Noah, for better or worse, was about to actually make a name for himself. Speaking of stealing private data, Delete Me is the sponsor of this video. So we know that Noah and gang were stealing millions of dollars through SIM swapping, a crime that requires collecting personal
Oh, at that
information
point.
about the victim, phone number, birth date, addresses, social security numbers, all that stuff. So you might be shocked to learn that there's hundreds of companies legally selling your personal information. Check it out. In 2023, Brian Krebs reported on an underground Telegram bot reselling access to data from US InfoSearch. For 8 smackaroos, anyone can look up the social security number or background report of virtually any American. The guy behind this bot, Jackie Chan, told Brian, quote, "Sim channels is where I get most of my customers," with his illicit service averaging 500 of these lookups a day. That's why I hate these data brokers. Even the ones who are meant to be semi-private, like US InfoSearch, allegedly vetting users to make sure they're not, well, Noah, have vulnerable systems. This bot is using stolen credentials to make this possible. Not to mention, I don't want any companies selling my data regardless of their intent. I mean, that's why you're getting non-stop marketing spam phone calls. Using Delete Me really stopped that problem for me. So look, you might not have millions of dollars to extort, but maybe someone wants to steal your identity, open a line of credit in your name, fish you for all your RuneScape gold, or just sell you damn hemorrhoid cream. Don't let it happen. The best way to stop this is to get your data removed from these brokers. Trouble is, there's thousands of them. That's where Delete Me comes in. They contact these brokers on your behalf using every data protection law available to get your information removed. And they don't just do it once. Throughout the year, as new brokers pop out and old ones collect more of your stuff, they keep sending those requests, keep insisting. It's not enough to do this once, it has to be a constant thing. And I love that Delete Me gives me access to a dashboard that updates in real time with the progress they're making and removing my information from all these nasty third-party marketing companies and people's search websites. Every time I check, I'm always surprised by how much more they've managed to get taken down. So if you're ready to take your privacy seriously, go to joindeleteme.com/crumb or use promo code crumb on checkout for 20% off Delete Me's US consumer plans. That's joindeleteme.com/crumb, code crumb. That's an amazing deal by an amazing company. Thank you, Delete Me.
paid like some stupid money for a role on a website just to look cool. And when that happens, everyone's like, okay, this guy is like either rich or retarded. And turns out he was rich and he was buying a ton of songs. He didn't really know how things work though. And he thought like just having songs would make you liked.
Okay, wait. Let's back up for a second here. So he joins Musicom, is getting bullied, but what even is the Musicom? What is leaked music, and why do people care enough to spend thousands of dollars on these?
All right, leaked music, pretty simply, is just music that isn't out anywhere. So an artist will record a bunch of songs for an album or just because they want to record songs. And most of the time, a lot of them don't come out. Playboi Carti or Lil Uzi or even Frank Ocean might record like 20, 40, 50, 100 songs. The album will only have like 16, 17 songs. All those other songs that don't come out, people find ways to get them. Whether that's phishing, SIM swapping, or just like friends of the artist, people in the studio. And that's what leaked music is. It's just all those unreleased songs and how they come basically to the public.
So music leaks have always existed, like a factory worker sneaking a pressed vinyl home before it was set to go to market. But in the early 2010s, something interesting starts happening online.
For the modern Musicom, I'd say it started with Rap Leaks, which was a subreddit. People there would talk about music leaks and share leaked music. And from there was like a subsect of people who were super obsessed with Kanye West. And they would go on to make their own subreddit called Kanye Leaks. I'm pretty sure a lot of new people were introduced to music leaks because of Kanye Leaks in a forum called Kanye to the. Kanye to the was an older forum that predates Rap Leaks and Kanye Leaks. However, a lot of people would share stuff from the Kanye Leaks subreddit onto the Kanye to the forum. And this would continue on up until 2018 when Reddit started cracking down on illegal activities on their website. To combat this, in May 2018, one of the moderators of the Kanye Leaks subreddit created a website called Leak This, which was very similar to Kanye to the. And Leak This was just a forum all about leaked music. So you'd be able to see snippets, you could buy songs, there was a marketplace on there. There still is a marketplace on there. There were also a bunch of hackers with their own websites. For example, there was Music Mafia, who was like probably the most famous. Back in 2017, they were all over the Rap Leaks subreddit. And they even had their own iconic tag, which sounded like Music Mafia. Go to www.musicmafia.to for leaked music. And it would be like Young Thug snippets. It would be Kanye, Quavo, Uzi, whoever. They would just post snippets on their website, and then you would be able to just send them money. And one of the first group buys, to my knowledge, was on Music Mafia. It would have like a little section for the song. You'd click on the song, and it would tell you how much of it was funded, which means people were sending them money and just trusting them to leak the song when it was fully funded. And one of the biggest grails of all time, which has leaked now very recently, Can You Be by Kanye West, which is like the holy grail of music. That song was on the original Music Mafia website for like $4,000 or something,
Jesus.
or $8,000, which back then was a lot of money. But nowadays, like $8,000 group buys are commonplace.
So there's all of these communities that cropped up, full of dedicated fans that want to listen to more music by their favorite artist. Sometimes these artists aren't even alive anymore, and so that causes the price of their unreleased music to go even higher because they'll never produce anything new. There's two main systems for selling unreleased music: group buys and private buys. Most of the people in these communities are not hackers. They're big fans, but the people selling the songs, they've usually done something shady to get their hands on the tracks. Today, most of this happens in public Discord servers branded around specific artists. They host group buys.
That's so crazy. Hosting group buys and people actually put money into that.
And once the amount desired by the seller is hit, the song gets posted publicly for everybody. Here's a list of every Lil Uzi song that's been sold on a group buy in a specific Discord server. Thousands of dollars being spent here just out of love for the artist. But then there's what people like Noah were more into, and that's private sales amongst themselves. And the craziest thing to me is that this is all built on trust. Like, if you spend $10,000 to buy a song from someone, how can you be sure they won't just sell it to someone else or post it for free?
Rule of thumb, bro, everything that anyone has will leak eventually. So like, you shouldn't buy something expecting it to not leak. Like, whenever I tell someone, like, first question they ask is like, so when you send the song to someone, when you sell it, do you delete the file from your computer? No, that's not what happens. What happens is that if one person has a song, they'll sell it to someone else, and then they'll receive the money, and now both of those people have the song. And usually there's like an unspoken agreement, like, yo, don't do anything with this, don't resell it, don't pass it to anybody. But people have their best friends, and they send the song to their best friend, and then their best friend sends it to their other best friend, and all of a sudden it's like the spider web and everything leaks. Yeah, something that's super common is like sellers will like cut the song by a second, because you can't uncut the song. So like, you'll chop a few milliseconds to like a second off, and then when it leaks, you'll see like, oh, I know who I sent the cut file to. The issue with that is like, the seller also has access to the cut file, right? So the seller could just frame one of the buyers. Most interesting thing is seeing how long you can go without a song leaking. One of the first ever songs I bought still hasn't leaked. It's been like 4 years, 5 years, but that's just because like nobody cares about that artist.
Okay, this is all fascinating, and I have 1,000 more questions, but let's circle back to Noah now when he first joined the Music Com in early 2022.
He joined Leak This as Yagami. Yagami, I think, is like an anime character, Light Yagami from Death Note. He has a ton of simmer money, you know, at this point.
This nigga really said, I think it's an anime character, and then named the exact anime he came from. Bro, there's no shot you can be saying shit like that. Like, I think it's an anime character. He's from Death Note.
It was starting to become kind of normal for simmers to join the website. We had Cameron, like 4K, Lucky. He joined the website. He did a $40 million hack, and he started buying like Juice WRLD songs. And I don't know if he saw it from other simmers joining the website or if he was just really into music, because his Minecraft username was Sosa, a music artist. But he joined the website and he started buying songs for like obscene amounts of money. Like back then, like 2022, prices were high, but they weren't like King Bob high. And he was paying like 5 figures for Playboi Carti songs. He was buying like Grails 3 times, which is one of them, Trap, Movie Time, whatever it was. And when he joined the website, the first thing he did was buy the God Roll, which it changes in price every time someone buys it. It goes up by like $50, but I don't know if he paid like $1,000 for it, $600. He paid like some stupid money for a roll on a website just to look cool. And he was buying a ton of songs. He didn't really know how things work though, and he thought like just having songs would make you liked. I showed you some screenshots that you can probably show at this part of him just talking with like other users. You can see that like he would start egoing people and being like, yeah, I have these songs, I'm so cool, respect me, and people would just like shrug him off. They just call him stupid. It's cool to have money, it's cool to have songs, but you can't just like buy people's respect. Up until a certain point when he became King Bob.
So it seems Noah wanted to distance himself from the Sosa username, likely because there was an old docs from 2020 during the Minecraft days connected to that handle containing his real name and parents' address. We know he had actually already dropped the Sosa handle, like in his hacking circles he was using the name Elijah, and so maybe Yagami was a way to even further distance himself from that sort of stuff. He wanted this to be a new separate identity. But he kind of made a fool of himself in Musicom. He had joined in May of 2022 and after not being well received, disappeared like a fart in the wind. My contact here told me that behind the scenes he was still making friends with people who had a lot of unreleased music they were willing to sell and who I apparently shouldn't name in the video. And so 4 months later,
because I might try to find you. Yeah, makes sense.
I think wanting some redemption, he rejoins under a new alias, King Bob, and this is where he goes on to try and make a name for himself.
So the date for his account creation is September 2nd, 2022. He became King Bob from Yagami. And that's when he became like this public figure where he starts showing off songs, being like, hey, I have this, this, and this. He starts selling songs or like trying to help, and I put that in like quotes, help the com. There was a group buy for a song called Recoup by Uzi. The song is now leaked, but there was a group buy for it for like $8,000 or something. And he completely finished the group buy for free, like for everyone. And then the seller messaged him and he's like, hey, instead of like just finishing the group buy, just like buy the song yourself and we'll just move the funds to a different group buy. It's just some like lame shit, you know?
So he's bragging about songs, but this time actually posting some snippets of them. 2 of the big ones being Money and Drugs and Friends, both by Playboi Carti. But a snippet isn't the full song, just a small clip to show that you have it. To give you an idea of how this made people in the community feel, when Money and Drugs leaked a year later, the top comment on this Reddit post says, fuck you, King Bob, hopefully we get friends. Come late September, he spends $25,000 on unreleased Stevie Wonder and scoops up more Playboi Carti songs in private buys, including Dirty Diana, Recoup, Let's Go, and Automatic. And actually for Automatic, instead of gatekeeping it, he ends up leaking it for free, saying he felt bad for sniping that Recoup group buy. Despite being miserable to deal with in chat, this earned him some brownie points. But this was still only his first month as King Bob. He's being very low-key, only buying songs, not hacking for them, and not bragging about them too publicly. This was about to change though, funny enough, after another incident threatened to expose his real identity. So this video I showed you in the intro, the guy kidnapped and held ransom went by the name Foreshadow online, but his real name is Justin. He was a holder for SimSwappers. That means he held the actual physical phone that the victim's number will be transferred to. Then, when the hackers like Noah triggered the reset password codes, the email accounts, or crypto accounts, it was his job to send those on gone over. Typically, holders are paid a portion of the stolen funds or some flat rate amounting to thousands of dollars. It's the riskiest and least rewarding role in a swap because the feds can easily trace what phone the number was swapped to, get its GPS data, and in many cases subpoena Apple or Google for more information. Justin here was being kidnapped because he had turned on the swappers. Since he had the phone and the auth codes, instead of handing it to them, he just took all of the money for himself. The problem was, the guy that he screwed over here, apparently goes by the name Gus, was pissed. Violence as a Service Telegram channels had recently been popping up, and apparently he ordered a hit on Justin. And one way or another, Justin was now in the back of a car somewheres around Miami, Florida, held up by two guns, bagging another SIM swapper that he seems to know to pay $200,000 to his captors or he was going to die. As this video began making rounds, a rumor surfaced that he had been shot and the lag had actually died. But pretty soon after, the real truth came out. These guys that held him up probably thought he had crypto somewheres, right? But they couldn't get it out of him. So they let him go and he immediately went to the police, and now he was cooperating with the FBI, telling them everything about all the different SIM swappers he had worked with. For Noah, this was really, really bad news. He had worked with Foreshadow a lot. Curiously, just days before the kidnapping, his own real name had been leaked for the second time online. But this time, instead of Minecraft, it explicitly referred to him as a SIM swapper in the title. And earlier in the year, according to Brian Krebs, Noah's own home had been bricked by rival hackers. For Noah, things were heating up. It seems he had tensions going on in his own SIM swapper channels, but now he also had a reason to believe that the FBI would be hot on his tail. But instead of lying low, he just doubles down in MusicCom, gets more public than ever.
He hit my radar after he started like just spending obscene amounts of money on songs. And I mean, I'm interested in Cardi too. Like I had a bunch of the Cardi songs that he had, but I didn't even know he had them. It was at like that level. Like he was pretty low key about it, I feel, initially. And then kind of just came out of nowhere and started posting snippets, playing songs on Discord, playing them on Twitter, playing them on Instagram. And you know, like as someone who's in that community, you see it.
So this begins his mad attention seeking campaign.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he'd post snippets on either his Twitter or his Instagram story and then get posted in the Discord and everyone be freaking the fuck out. So yeah, it's definitely about the attention. You can see that because of like his follower count just go way up.
I've long thought that when you steal millions of dollars, the problem is you've contributed nothing to society. So there's nothing that you can show off as an accomplishment. And so these kids, lacking the respect and admiration that comes with creating value, they instead try to seek validation through these ostentatious displays of their ill-gotten gains. Like he posted this video of his money counter going through Benjamin's with unreleased songs playing in the background.
Yeah, so he has his Twitter, KingBob1629. He tries to get this like aura. He'll just post like a random lyric, and then the song will leak eventually, and then he'll like retweet the lyric. He was just like clout chasing the entire time.
Come late October, he's teasing a bunch of Uzi songs in the Uzi Hub Discord server. Songs like Remember, Just Keep Her, and Hayden, all never before heard. Naturally, the fans are freaking out, but there's this question of how's he getting these? Because no one else seemed to have them. He didn't buy them this time around.
Them again. Fuck. Be right back.
So I think he definitely got songs both ways. I'm not
Okay.
King Bob, so I can't say with 100% certainty, but like I'm 99% sure that he was hitting people for songs. So he would have this little group of him and like a couple other leakers, and they would like buy and sell within each other. So he had one of like the biggest libraries of music specifically for because he hit like Uzi's Engineer. He was definitely hitting for music, and allegedly he hit Songshare and got Keisha's library, engineers, producers, artists, all of that. He was definitely doing that. I don't know if it was through phishing or sim swapping. I'm pretty confident that he was sim swapping for the songs, but like a lot of people fish as well. He could have been phishing as well. There's also like a lot of social engineering within it as well. There's a screenshot of like someone who's on a burner phone and they sim swap someone, and then they texted another artist from the number that they sim swapped and be like, hey, I lost this file, can you send me it? For a song called Sauce by Lil Uzi Vert and Playboi Carti, and that's how they get songs as well.
Okay, this brings up a lot of questions. I know that Noah's music vault was worth somewhere around $200,000 now, but how are these songs even being priced? Are people hacking songs specifically to sell them for money? Obviously, the artists know that this is happening, so like, what's their position? Does it hurt them? And then around this time, Noah also gets doxxed again within Musiccom, and for the first time, they know who he is, and this kind of creates some problems for him. But let's take a step back first. I want to talk about those other things related to Musiccom before we go back to the story of Noah. Tell me about the
Deeper in
price
the
of these
call.
songs, man. It sounds like they started out fairly cheap, and then nowadays they're just crazy expensive.
It depends on who's running the community. So a lot of the times, the hackers will have the song and they'll be the only people with the song, so they can charge whatever price they want, you know, supply and demand. I personally don't like that because I feel like it's really ruined the community over the years. It's so inaccessible for a lot of people, and it also like brings in a lot of like people like King Bob who are just like, they have obscene amount of money. Those aren't the people that you want running the community, you know? Like, it's a lot better when it's just like this homebrew, like, oh, it's just a bunch of people who love the artist, and one day you'll be able to get your own song if you save up like $1,000, which is how it was back in the day. But nowadays it's like, yeah, you have to have so much money. And for certain artists like Juice WRLD, for instance, yeah, he's dead. He can't record any more music. But also Juice WRLD has one of the biggest unreleased catalogs. He's recorded like thousands of songs. So realistically, his song shouldn't be that expensive. I remember before he died, you'd be able to get one of his songs for like $500. And then like right after he died, the prices just skyrocketed, even though like everyone knew that this dude still has like thousands of unreleased songs that aren't leaked. So there isn't really like a lack of songs here. It's just like he died and the people running the community took advantage of it and raised the prices from like $500, $1,000 for a group buy to fucking 8,000, 10,000, 12,000. Now group buys are like 25 grand, and that's just normal, you know? Another day in the Juice WRLD community.
But like, if a community is willing to pull together 25 grand in a group buy to get a hacker to drop this song so they can all listen to it, or shit, you know, someone buys it just as a private sale thing, spends 25 grand, there's gonna be reasons that they care enough about the music to do that, right? And I'm not super into music, so I don't get it. So like, what is the different archetypes of people that are buying this stuff?
There's a bit of a ego thing to it. You have a song that nobody else has, and that makes you feel like special. There's a screenshot of King Bob saying like, the music is worse when everyone else can hear it. And that's why people care. It's like, it's a flex, and it makes them feel like special, or like deeper cuts of fans, you know? Like, I'm a hardcore fan because I know every single Frank Ocean unreleased song. And so like,
Bro, I hate them niggas thinking that they're better than everybody just because you can name every single song on their release catalog. Like, who the fuck you think you are? Like, bro.
I'm a bigger fan than you. And actually, I have a Frank Ocean unreleased song, so that means I'm cooler than you. So yeah, it's a big status thing. It's a big ego thing. People love flexing their songs. There's so many snippets of like King Bob and his friends and other hackers playing songs in like Discord voice chats and people just freaking out. Like, some people just love the attention. And there's some people who just like really want the music and they stay super low key about it. And they just spend tons of money on music and just nobody even knows. There's also another side to it. There's some people that, like, as you're saying, they're just super obsessed with the artist to the point where like they want to even know how the artist works, and they're buying like studio sessions. The whole session for the song, which is like a folder with like the stems, which is like the raw recording data and like how everything was laid out. People know naming conventions of engineers now. Like Uzi will be called like Uzi and then the producer and then the song name. Dude, it is like deep. Like, people are crazy about these artists. And then the OG files, which is something like the geeks care about, which is like the file that came out for the song is like a mastered version. It goes through a bunch of people, it gets mixed, mastered, and then it gets sent to A&Rs and stuff gets changed. Some people even care about the OG files, which is like the original recording file, which is like super hardcore. I know some people that like spend like $300 per like OG file for a song that's already out, just because they want to have the original file. Like, that's how deep it gets. Like, I don't, like, why are you spending money on that? The song's already out, and they want to feel like closer to the artist. But at the same time, because people listen to the leaks, they get this sense that they know the artist super well. And so they think that they know it's best. There's this thing called snippet syndrome, which is like a word people use to describe an artist will post a snippet, or like a seller will post a snippet of a song, and it'll sound really good. And then the song will come out and suddenly it doesn't sound as good. And that's called snippet syndrome. So like Juice WRLD's management might say, oh, this song sucks. But to us, we've only heard a snippet and the snippet sounds really good. So we want that song, we'll beg for it. And then the song will come out and it'll be ass. So like people in the community get this like sense that like they know what's best, but it's all out of love, you know, like the people who buy these songs, pay for these songs, listen to these leaks, they love the artist. I think it's super important to keep in mind, like everything in the community is built off trust and like out of love most of the time, until the simmers come around and start egoing everyone.
Do you get the sense that people selling the music are doing it for the cash?
No. Okay. Some of them definitely are. Some of them like exclusively do music. I know people that fish for songs and they've only done music. The thing with music is that I feel like it's a lot less consistent than simming for money, because you can get a song and you don't know if anyone will buy it, or you can do a hit and they might not have any songs that are unreleased. For when you're doing crypto, it's like, you know, this guy has money. So and so is holding like 200K in his Coinbase. So if I hit his Coinbase, I'll get 200K. You might not know where the guy you're hitting stores his music. There are a bunch of places. It could be Dropbox, it could be Box, it could be Songshare, it could be Untitled. They have like 50 places where they could hold their music. And so even if you hit them, like, you might not necessarily get the songs. So I would say the amount of people doing music to pay rent, pay their foreign car's car payment, is a lot less than people who sim.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, if I was to go and try to make a career out of hacking people, number one, it seems like music is less risky because it's more of a civil issue. Like, what are the chances that a producer or a rapper who's already very wealthy is going to press this, try to take it to court and get me sued, whatever?
True.
Like, if I go and steal $1 million from someone, they're making a report. They want my ass. That's nearly a guarantee. But steal a bunch of music that they weren't doing anything with anyways, it's much less of a chance that any issue is going to arise from that. At the same time, though, I've also talked to a ton of sim swappers, like Joseph Harris. This is a guy who stole millions of dollars, had more money than he would ever need, and then he goes on to steal even more. And he told me the only reason he did that was because it was, quote, an insane natural high. And I feel like that's probably going on here too, where these kids are involved in some other sort of cybercrime, but they're also interested in music, and so they're doing these things on the side basically just for the rush of it, for the fun of it, because it's their interest, whatever. And so then it ends up on the market that way. Does that check out?
The artists have like come to terms with the leakers. So for instance, like for Lil Uzi Vert, I've been in the studio with his manager. Like, there's a video of me with another YouTuber interviewing his manager, and I asked him about music leaks, and he said,
but it's like, what am I gonna do? Just go out in the world, start fighting everybody over a leak song? Like, I can't. These are fans that love this shit. You know what I mean? Whether they're selling it or being a part, it's nothing I could do.
At a certain point, he said there's nothing we can do about it, you know? The music is in the hands of the leakers, and we can't change that. And so a lot of them don't care. There have been instances, very rarely, of like getting arrested for music, but I think that the odds of you getting arrested for music are so low. And it's also like, you need to fuck up in the sense where you need to hack the wrong person. And those people are usually like big pop artists. So think like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, or someone like Jay-Z, who is like anal about his music leaking. So there are people with like reputations, like if you get their music, they're gonna be dickheads to you. But then there are also people like Uzi or like Cardi, where if you get their music, their team will just start talking to you normally and like just try not to have stuff leak. Because how do you judge the value of a song that isn't out? And I think that becomes like the biggest issue in terms of like law. How do you charge someone for selling an unreleased song when you don't even know how much that song is worth? And a lot of the times the music that people are getting is stuff that would never come out. So like, I mean, it sucks to have your work leak online, but a lot of times it's like stuff that was just never gonna come out, so they don't care.
I feel like for the most part, it's kind of beneficial for the artists. Like, I wish there was Discord communities with 10,000 people in them wanting to see my unreleased videos.
If it wasn't for the unreleased music, I don't think artists like Playboi Carti or Lil Uzi Vert would have the following that they have. Because like, there's certain artists that are known for their unreleased music, like Juice WRLD, for instance. But there are also times where it really hurts the artist. Lil Uzi Vert had his album Eternal Atake. That album came out in 2020. It was announced in 2017 or 2018. And the album was supposed to come out around then. He dropped the cover, he said the album's done. And then all of a sudden, 2 songs on that album leaked. And I don't think it leaked from like a hacker specifically. I think his management team fucked someone over and it caused the song to get leaked. But the song is leaked and it completely fucked over the entire rollout. And the album got delayed for 3 years. And there's like an interview of Uzi saying like, I wish I dropped the first version because that album was perfect. I feel like there's an unwritten rule in the community where it's like, you don't want to sell songs that are coming out. Like, I had a song.
Bro, imagine if that album was actually better than the one that he released. Damn.
that was supposed to be on Eternal Take 2.
Missed
I couldn't
out
group
big
buy it
time.
because everyone was like, nah, we don't want to buy a song that might drop. There's certain communities like Juice WRLD, for instance, where the people running the community will get a song that they know is going to drop and then they'll sell it without telling people that it's going to drop, but that's seen as like really negative.
I get the impression that Noah was seen as negative in the community. I mean, he effectively got kicked out once. Wonder why didn't it happen again?
A lot of people don't like him, but he had so much money and so many files that you were kind of forced to like put up with him.
But then he got doxxed and things went downhill pretty quickly after that. So tell me about that.
The Dogs, Chapter 6.
In a few months, King Bob had gone from a despised random to an infamous music leaker holding some of the most desired songs. Clearly, not everyone was a fan though. And after posting another Lil Uzi Vert snippet, someone posted King Bob's docs to Musiccom.
He just rolled with it. Like, he wouldn't tell people that isn't him. So because of that, I do think that he didn't want people to know that he was like Noah Michael Urban, because he was letting people call him Elijah. Like, he would ban the word Elijah in the Uzi server.
Yeah, it was wrong. It had that Elijah name, the name he was using in his Simmer circles, which is nuts because he had been doxxed 2 times prior. Both of those times had his actual real information, the Noah Michael Urban name, and this time it was just completely wrong. I have a feeling this was a fake identity he had created for himself so people would find it, but he did the right thing by acting like it was real. People really believed it. A lot of the folks I talked to referred to him as Elijah. That's how far spread this got. Unfazed and heading into the end of 2022, his vault grows extensively. He's buying a ton more songs from new people entering the community, and he's starting to join Discord calls, acting like an authority on unreleased music.
There's apparently 17 versions. There's only 4 that we've heard.
This comment sums it up best. His shenanigans continue into 2023, but come March, members of the community notice he's gone dark. This isn't like him. Turns out FBI agents had rushed his dad's home. They had a search warrant, but to the FBI's surprise, Noah was prepared. Maybe someone tipped him off, but as they entered his room, his computer was in the process of encrypting itself. It's a good thing they got there when they did, because by shutting down the computer before it could complete, they still had access to everything on the computer. This was a big failure for Noah. His only saving grace is that they didn't seem to have any proof to actually issue a warrant for his arrest or even detain him. The court files aren't public for this, so it's hard to say, but it's very unusual. In most of these cases, by the time the search warrant is issued, they've spent years collecting evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to ensure a strong conviction. It's like this search warrant was issued on more of a whim. Perhaps they didn't understand the gravity of who they were dealing with in full just yet. But for now, they had his computers, and so they were surely going to be digging deeper. In the meantime, he was free to go on the promise not to access any cryptocurrency accounts or talk to any co-conspirators.
Jesus.
Come
Promise
summer,
me?
back
I
in the
promise.
comm, some of his music starts to spread. It's rumored that he passed it over to a friend to keep safe with all the pending drama around his freedom.
There's no confirmed information about a lot of this stuff because it's like goes through so many random people, you know, and there's so much he said, she said, hearsay. Like, yeah, there's a rumor that there's a zip file that he had with like 300 plus songs that got passed around, and anyone who would know about it that you ask about, like specifically like would be in possession or has seen it, they'll always be like, I don't know, which like leaves it up in the air because I've never gotten a definitive no about that.
It's around this time that he moves out of his dad's house. It seems tensions were high. Is Airbnb hopping from one place to another? If he continued living like this, maybe the FBI would eventually forget about him. But come January 9th, 2024, there's a knock at the door. Noah couldn't be sure if the feds had finally caught up to him or someone was coming to hurt him like they did Foreshadow. As he cracked open the door, several FBI agents and police
Damn.
officers pushed their way in. A warrant for his arrest had been issued weeks prior. They had only just now found out where he was staying. As officers inspected his ID, which read Anthony Ramirez, Noah held on to some hope. He'd been living under a fake identity, but unfortunately for Noah, they knew the truth. His short run had come to an end, but he wasn't going to jail for stealing music.
What? What could he possibly be going? Oh, it was a SIM swap card. He was getting the
The
crypto.
Musiccom have been wondering what happened to their king. On January 11th, 2024, they got their answer. The Department of Justice publicly released this indictment against King Bob, complete with his list of old handles. For the first time, they knew the face and name behind the avatar, 19-year-old Noah Michael Urban. The first thing the judge did was revoke his ability to make bail, stating he was a flight risk. So, you know how when they first searched him, he was encrypting his PC? Well, they put it down down in the paperwork as him, quote, deleting his files. When his attorney argued this point, stating that he was just re-encrypting his already encrypted computer to make it more secure, the judge bit back, saying that's worse. Quote, the defendant's new assertion is an even stronger argument that he should be detained due to obstruction of justice. If the defendant was at least deleting the files, it would tend to show that he was abandoning them in the hopes of making sure no one has access to them ever again. But the defendant wanted to encrypt an already encrypted computer to ensure that the government would have no access to that information. Anyways, his parents also had made statements which affirmed the judge's decision. Noah's dad said on record that he was so intelligent he could use the Wi-Fi even when not being told the password. And his mom said that Noah wouldn't follow her rules at home. He was kicked out and that she did not trust him on computers, that he was very secretive. On top of that, the judge also considered that he had no fixed address, was facing a lengthy incarceration if convicted, had no stable employment or residence, was using a fake ID, and worst of all, had no explanation to how he had been supporting his lifestyle. Noah never had a job. Yet his lawyer is still fighting this, is arguing that this is not enough reason to revoke bail under the terms of a flight risk. The other consideration is that he broke his conditions after that first search, that he talked to co-conspirators, people on Discord, told them about the raid, and accessed cryptocurrency, which he wasn't meant to do. Apparently he got a refund from one of those crypto gambling websites, so this gave him a little cash to spend. Noah is charged with 8 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 5 counts of aggravated identity theft between August 2022 and March 2023.
Yikes.
They
Shit.
found he had stolen more than $800,000 worth of cryptocurrency after abusing people's personal information to break into crypto
Yikes, holy
exchange
shit.
accounts they held. He's pled not guilty. His trial is set for December 2nd, but it could get dragged out much further past then. He faces a minimum mandatory penalty of 2 years imprisonment for the aggravated identity offenses and up to 20 years in federal prison on each of the wire fraud charges. To top it off, on November 20th this year, 2024, the U.S. Attorney's Office unsealed indictments against 4 of Noah's co-conspirators involved in the Scattered Spider hacks, having used their little SMS phishing campaign to steal millions of dollars. Noah made a post on Twitter immediately after this press release, likely from a trap phone, saying, well, fuck.
I don't know. He was just really stupid about it, I guess. Which is like, think about it, bro. He was like 18. Like, I guess he started simming when he was like 16 or 17. You don't know better. You're just a teenager who just ran into a ton of money. What are you going to do? You're going to flex it online.
Just recently, Young Thug.
Damn, that's crazy. That was a good video, though.
On a chilly evening, 19.
That was good shit. Good shit. Oh. Well, I'm gonna go. Thanks for tuning in, for watching.